Hey everyone, welcome to a special non-comic book edition of my usual cooking videos. Today we're going to be making the Leblanc curry from one of my favorite games, Persona 5. Now, as far as I know, there are two official recipes floating around online. One from an official recipe card translated by a fan, and the other official recipe card included as part of the Persona 5 Strikers press kit. They're pretty much the same, except the former has weight included for every ingredient, which is the recipe we're going to be following today. I'm not sure if this is the OG Sojiro recipe or the scientifically refined Wakaba one, but I'm sure it'll be fun to make regardless. We'll be using a scale to weigh out some of our ingredients, and boy, are there quite a few. To kick us off, we're going to need some flour. As for the spices, we'll need the following powders: cumin, coriander, turmeric, cardamom, cinnamon, chili, nutmeg, clove, and black pepper. Additionally, we'll also need some oil, which was translated as salad oil, but rest assured, it's just regular cooking oil. We'll also need some beef. I'm gonna use these two steaks that were in my freezer, and we'll also need laurier, which is also known as bay leaf. Also, red wine. And I know in my last video, I bought the cheapest red wine I could find, but I decided to spend twice as much this time because Sojiro's a cool, classy dude, so I gotta at least do that part some justice, you know? As for our fruits and vegetables, we'll need onion, carrot, apple, I'm using a Fuji apple, garlic, and ginger root. And finally, we have our secret ingredients. If you play Persona 5, you might recognize these as the curry trivia that pops up throughout the game whenever you make it. For this recipe, we're using all of them. We have chocolate, or more specifically, dark chocolate, instant coffee, Worcestershire sauce, yogurt. I'm using Greek yogurt because that's what we have, which does have a more tart flavor, so keep that in mind if you decide to use it too. Honey, consomme, which I believe is beef bouillon, and butter. That's quite a number of ingredients, but don't worry, it's gonna be okay. Anyway, let's start our prepping. The first thing we're going to do is weigh out 4 tablespoons of flour, or about 36 grams, or 38 grams, it's kind of hard to read, so I'm going for 37 grams. Either way, we're also going to weigh out 2 teaspoons or 4 grams each of cumin, coriander, and turmeric, then 1 teaspoon or 2 grams each of cardamom and cinnamon, then half a teaspoon or 1 gram each of nutmeg and chili pepper. And finally, a 1/4 teaspoon or half a gram each of clove and black pepper. Honestly, if you're off by half a gram, it's not the end of the world. Next, we're going to prepare our vegetables. Dice 2 onions, which is about 400 grams worth. Peel and chop your carrot into nice bite-sized chunks, about 150 grams or that. For our 10 grams of ginger and garlic, we're going to mince them. I'm using a microplane. For the apple, peel it and grate it into small thin strips, totaling about 100 grams. Please watch your fingers and don't slip. Moving on, cut up your beef of choice into nice bite-sized chunks, totaling about 500 grams. If you're using fattier cuts like I am, trim off most of the excess fat and keep it for some other use. And let's get cooking. Heat up a dry pot or pan with nothing in it on medium-high heat. We're then going to dry fry our flour. If you've seen my Gambit's Gumbo video, it's a lot like making the roux for that, except much easier. Just stand there and keep the flour moving until it starts to smoke a little and brown. Once that happens, toss in all the spices and thoroughly combine everything. When it starts to smell fragrant, take it off the heat and set it aside. Next, we're going to brown our beef. I'm using my trusty Dutch oven, and instead of cooking oil, I'm going to render out some of the fat from the beef. Once enough fat covers the bottom of the pot, in goes the beef on medium-high heat. Season it with salt and pepper. Now we're going to take our time to brown the beef adequately, getting some good color on at least 2 sides, and once you're happy and the bottom is starting to look a little crusty, we're going to deglaze with 1 cup of red wine, and be sure to scrape the bottom. After that, we're going to add 3 cups of water. I threw in the bay leaf at this point, and I'm going to move it onto another burner and bring it up to a light simmer while we cook the vegetables. So, in a pan over medium heat, add in some oil and your diced onions. Cook until they're softened and lightly browned. The recipe calls for them to be caramelized, but that word is used pretty loosely nowadays. Either way, once you're done with that, add in your apple, garlic, ginger, and carrots. Stir everything together to combine and cook for a little bit more. Once you're done with that, add the contents to the pot of beef and bring it to a simmer. Once simmering, slowly add in your toasted flour and spice mixture. Add a little bunch at a time, stopping only to stir it in and make sure it's well incorporated into the mixture. Then you're going to let it simmer on low heat. In my case, I did it for about half an hour and stirred it every 10 minutes or so. This is a good time to get your rice cooking. We're almost done, and now it's time for the secret ingredients. In goes 8 grams of dark chocolate, 2 grams of instant coffee, 17 grams of Worcestershire sauce, 110 grams of yogurt, 19 grams of honey, 5 grams of beef bouillon, and 14 grams of butter. Stir all that in, making sure the butter and chocolate fully melt into the curry. It's at this point where you can remove the bay leaf. And now have a taste and add salt as needed. I ended up having to add a little bit more honey to counter the tartness of the Greek yogurt. Remember, we're following a recipe, but at the end of the day, it's also about making yourself happy. Anyway, I would say it's finally time to eat, but to truly pay homage to Leblanc, we absolutely cannot forget one more vital component to truly complete the meal: a nice cup of coffee. Now, I don't really drink coffee, but my beautiful wife loves coffee and even has a Hario V60, which is apparently the same one Joker uses in the game when brewing. So, for the first time, please give her a warm welcome as she brews a cup of coffee.
Well, I just let it sit for like a couple minutes for all the water to drip through, but like we don't need all that for the recording.
You gotta see the line.
Let me explain.
Thank you for the coffee. Now it's time to serve our curry with some rice in an aesthetically pleasing way before digging in. For whatever reason, I seem to have lost the footage of me actually eating it, but I will say I enjoyed it. It's quite different from the conventional Japanese curry a lot of people are probably familiar with, especially if you've made some at home using curry cubes, which I myself have done many times, so this was a fun change of pace. This curry is more sweet and savory, I would say, which actually pairs really well with the coffee. I see the vision Sojiro is going for, and I respect it very much.